Good afternoon and welcome to yet another TUG Connects 365 webinar today. I'm Gloria Nelson, your host with TUG. And as you settle in and get ready for the start of today's webinar, let me give a brief introduction for TUG, the usergroup.org, for both our current members and those of you who represent organizations that have not yet joined our online community of Infor distribution software users. Now, we've all heard that phrase that knowledge is power. And I can say with confidence that after today's presentation, you will be waking up tomorrow with a little more of both. And today is but one of our presentations, and we have a great archive library of content for our members. TUG webinars, online forums, and member events facilitate the timely exchange of ideas and information to help you work smarter and with more confidence. And no matter how you slice it, that's a powerful combination. If you're currently a member, it pays to get even more involved. And if you're not, please visit our website to discover why 2,300 heads are better than one to help you be the best at what you do. And we're happy to announce that the TUG Connects 2021 virtual conference registration is now officially live and open. So jump on over to our website after this and take a look and make sure that you register. Before we get started here, I just want to make an IP announcement. Chris and the folks at Esker have given us permission with IP content to go ahead and capture screenshots and also any chat that you feel would be helpful to you that might populate within that window. And speaking of those two tools, please make sure to open your Q&A bubble from your toolbar. That is where we will be posting any questions so that everyone can see them. We will monitor them in chat as well, but one of the things that you need to know is that chat has two different settings. The blue box above the line where you type in content is either going to go to all panelists only or panelists and attendees. So make sure that you're actually selecting the correct audience when you use that feature. So let's go ahead and give you a moment to open up both of those bubbles. And I'd like to ask you to open up chat now and just let us know where you're logging in from. We're going to be buckling in for about 35 minutes of content, and we will stay until the last question is answered or that you run out of the allotted time. And now it is my pleasure to introduce Chris Graves, Esker's Senior Business Development Manager, who is going to be taking us through their platform of helping us strengthen our digital features through their order management automation solutions. Chris, I'm turning things over to you, so go ahead and take it away.
Great, thanks, Gloria. Let me bring up my screen here so you guys can see it. As Gloria mentioned, my name is Chris Graves. I am with Esker and been with the company for quite a while, broadcasting out of Madison, Wisconsin. Little dreary over here with a little rain today, but hopefully we'll be getting some warmer weather here shortly. So as Gloria mentioned, today we're going to talk about our order management solution and the automation aspect of order management and how it can benefit customers, especially in the wholesale distribution vertical. So the first slide here is really kind of depicting what happens from a cash standpoint from within an organization. So we're going to be talking about order management, but really monitoring cash flow throughout an organization really hits all sorts of different departments, whether it's orders, accounts payable, purchasing, accounts receivable. It really is the total picture. And this is really what C-level, especially the CFOs, are wanting to see within an organization. The issue really becomes, while this information, once it's in the ERP, becomes visible, what happens to that information when it's outside of your ERP system? What happens to orders and invoices that haven't been uploaded into Infor yet? What happens to invoices that have been sent out to your customers but are still awaiting payment? And also, what happens to purchases that take place for things like IT hardware, office supplies, and stuff that are non-trade good that you guys are making purchases for? So that doesn't really appear in the ERP system, and that's where a company like Esker can help. Again, we're going to be focusing on order management, but just wanted to bring those kind of highlight kind of the complete circle of life, I guess, if you will, on the cash side. So we're going to be talking about order management today, and the way that the Esker solution is set up is really intended to help wholesale distribution customers accept orders from any customer in any variety of format. So it doesn't matter if the inbound order is an EDI, inbound fax, inbound email, what have you, or how the customer is structuring their order. All those orders can funnel into Esker, and we can help automate that entire process for your company. The other thing that we do is we do replicate information out of your Infor system and bring that into Esker as well. One of the downfalls of some of the other solutions we've encountered, especially those that are template-based, is they'll capture the information off the order, send it into the ERP, but then your CSR still has to go into the ERP and correct the information. With the Esker solution, we actually do that on the front end, so by the time the order goes into your ERP system, all the information is correct. There are some checks and balances as well within the workflow. So when we do capture the information and send it in to the Esker solution, your CSRs will actually be able to validate the information. Again, getting access to the information that we replicated out of Infor to make sure the data is correct before sending it through. Now, one thing about the Esker system that I mentioned is that we don't work on templates. So we don't care how the order is coming in. We don't care what the layout or the structure is. Esker actually has learning technologies we'll touch on a little bit more that'll actually learn the order format as you guys process orders more and more from those customers. So time for a quick poll. Gloria, can bring up the first question, please? So what do you view as being the primary issue with your current order management process? Is it the time that it takes the CSRs to enter the orders? Is it data entry errors that are being created by manual entry? Lack of visibility, especially on orders that have not been entered into your Infor system yet? Reporting and KPI tracking? Or is there other issues that you guys have identified as your primary bottleneck with entering orders into your system? Please answer now. Okay, Gloria, what do we show for results on this poll? Nice. So, yep, this is pretty common that we see in the wholesale distribution vertical, the time the CSRs are spending entering their orders in. Many companies have CSRs that'll spend 50, 60, 70% of their day doing nothing but order entry when they really should be working with customers and seeing how they can help them, even increasing sales and that kind of thing. So that's a pretty common pain that we hear from customers.
Chris, I'm going to ask you if you'd be so kind as to share the percentage of our audience results for those who are listening to the recording going forward, if I may.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So the time spent from CSR standpoint is about 79%. People were saying that is kind of an issue. Data entry errors don't seem to be very high. That's actually at 0%. Lack of visibility was at 7%. Reporting and KPI tracking was at 7%, and other was 7%. So very highly weighted on the time that it takes CSRs to enter orders in. So, okay. So as I mentioned, Esker does have learning technology that allows our solution to actually to learn the order format that your customers are sending their orders in. So we have 3 different technologies that can be applied to learning those file formats. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in the demonstration itself. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this slide. One thing I will let you know is one of the advantages of using a cloud-based solution, which is what Esker offers, is it actually allows you to benefit from what other customers have done. So as I mentioned, we're going through a learning process with these orders, but if a customer has already submitted, one of your customers is working with somebody else that's using the Esker solution, they've already gone through and trained the Esker system on that solution, your company can actually benefit from that process, and may not even need to train the order. It may actually just go directly into your Infor system. So, oops. The other thing that we've identified from a Esker standpoint is the need for what we call our customer experience team. So there's a distinction between what we call customer experience and tech support. Tech support is obviously for those customers that are calling in with support issues with databases maybe not replicating, or there's a behavior issue or something like that in the Esker system. And obviously we still have a support side. But one thing that we found is that customers, even though we do our best to train them and make them completely self-sufficient during the implementation, over time they start to forget how to perhaps write a report or create a user, or they lose CSR staff and they need to be retrained on how to use the Esker system, et cetera. So a few years back, we put together what we call our customer experience team, which is really aimed at helping customers get the most value out of their Esker solution. So it's included in with our service, and something you guys can lean on if you guys have questions on the Esker system, should you decide to go forward with it. So time for another quick poll here. Gloria, can you bring up the second question, please? So question 2, which of the following technologies is your company currently using? Another order automation solution, RPA, or robotic process automation, EDI, or manual entry? Go ahead and please submit your answer now. Okay, Gloria, can we see the results, please? Okay, so other order automation solutions, about 12%, RPA at 0%, EDI at 29%, and manual entry at 59%. And again, that's a pretty common spread of what we're seeing across most of our customers from talking to them. EDI is certainly something that's prevalent and certainly widely used, but manual entry still seems to be king when it comes to processing orders. So, okay, thank you, Gloria. So that's it at this point. I don't know if there's any initial questions that you have, Gloria, that the people have reported to you, or if we should just jump into the demonstration itself.
We do have some questions.
Okay.
Let me just start real quickly here. We have a number of customers uploading orders to portals. How does Esker handle those orders?
That's a great question. So Esker can actually integrate with portals such as Ariba and Coupa and that kind of thing, and download orders and bring those into the Esker workflow as well. So there are integrations that we can develop to help automate that portion, so that your CSRs don't have to manually log into those portals and pull the orders down.
Also, I wanted to let you know in chat that Richard Voss, I hope I'm not mispronouncing your name, Richard, shared that his answer, I think, was not on that summary of poll questions. He said that PDF image scan automation is what they're using to pull out that content. Next question I have is recently we acquired another company and they run a different ERP than what we currently have. Would your solution work with multiple ERPs?
It does. The Esker solution is kind of ERP independent, and it can certainly integrate with multiple different ERPs all within the same company and the same solution. So.
And that's all we have for now. So I'm going to let you get back to your content, and I'm going to play hide and seek again.
Sounds great. Thank you. We exit out of this, and we're going to bring up the Esker website here. So the solution we're talking about today is actually all cloud-based. So there's nothing to actually install it on your site. It's all hosted by Esker. And so your login access will just be going through the Esker website, clicking on the user login here. And then each of the users within your organization will actually have their own identifier or login credentials. And the reason for that is Esker tracks absolutely everything that a user does within the Esker solution. So if there's ever any questions about what happened to an order, who looked at it, who processed it, who made changes to it, etc., we have all that information. So when I log in here, again, unique identifier, unique passcode, I'm going to be taken to what we call our landing screen or our home screen. And on this screen, there's actually a whole bunch of information that I'm provided. Now, right now I'm logged in as a CSR, a customer service representative. So what I'm looking at here is the block of orders that I have to validate by the big number 20 there. I also have 8 orders that I've identified, or Esker's identified rather, as being priority orders. And those are actually orders that have wording on them like ASAP, next day air, UPS red, etc. Some sort of indicator that makes it so that that order is flagged as priority. I also have a section here that shows me what I've done today, and actually I've done absolutely nothing. As you can see in the Esker system, I haven't approved any orders or rejected any, so I don't have any information there. And scrolling further down here, we also have some data around the orders itself. So I've got information like the top selling items over the last 3 months. I can look at the orders by day a week. I can also look at the number of changes that I had to make in the Esker system for each of my customer orders. This is actually a really powerful graph because it shows you, like industrial supply here, that I had to make quite a few changes to the orders before I could actually improve them and to go to the Infor system. Whereas somebody like Omega here, I didn't have to make many changes at all. So with the free time now that your CSRs will have, they can reach out to industrial supplies to figure out why those changes are needed to be made and perhaps work on them or work with them to streamline the orders a little bit more and make those so that you can turn them around quicker and get the product out to them a little faster. This home screen, though, is 100% customizable by you and for the individual that's logging in. So by clicking this little pencil icon here, I can actually move things around. I can change colors of these numbers. I can add and remove charts. Obviously, we can go into much more detail about this if it's something you have an interest in learning on. But the idea being that based on the role of the individual logging in, we can change what the screen shows. As an example, for a CSR manager, maybe instead of just seeing one bucket of orders here, I want to see all the orders that each one of my CSRs has to approve. So I can have, James, Sally, Tom, all the way across the top and show the orders that are waiting in their queue for approval. These reports on the bottom here are actually linked to the reports that Esker provides and that you're able to create in the Esker system. So we start with about 1.5 pages of reports, and I can zoom in a little bit so you can read some of these here. So there's about 1.5 pages reports that are provided by default. All these reports can be edited, and you can also schedule these reports. So one of the reports I really like is this one here that says orders for which automatic processing may be enabled. What this means is that there are going to be orders that are going to come into the Esker system, especially as you're using it, as you continue to use it, and Esker continues to learn the order layouts for your customers, where your CSRs are not having to make any changes at all. So you do have the ability to change those orders or select those customer orders to go directly into Infor without them actually going through the validation process. They go through automatically. So this report will help you monitor which customer orders would qualify or could potentially be set in that manner. But again, you can edit these reports. You can schedule them to export on a given day, given time, via email to you, and you can create new reports as well. And this is where our customer experience team can step in and kind of help you as well. So now we're going to go back in and kind of look at a day in the life of a CSR, customer service representative. But before we do that, I don't know, Gloria, was there any other questions that have been raised to this point? Oh, you're on mute, Gloria.
Thank you. Sorry about that. I'm just sitting
No
here
problem.
yammering away.
That's okay.
I have one question that I think might be on the minds of other people. My question is, does your platform have the ability to convert to other languages? And also, what about currencies?
Yeah, great question. So Esker is an international company, actually headquartered over in Lyon, France, and we have presence in about 15 other countries across the globe. So yes, it is international from a language standpoint as well as a currency standpoint.
Great. And Dave Lattery also posted a question. He said, do you support SSO via Microsoft or third party?
We do support SSO, Microsoft Exchange, as well as Azure. So yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And Geraldine Pintar says, can orders from a scanner or scanning app send orders into the ERP through this platform?
Yeah, so orders that are coming in through a scanner or scanning app would actually be forwarded to Esker generally as an email, and then we do our magic and we'll ultimately send it into the ERP or into Infor for loading. Yes.
And Dave Lattery posted, he said, thank you very much. And so Dave, this is an official, you're welcome. We've got some people have found the anonymous button, which I find to be very humorous. It's like they want to be cloaked.
Right.
Also, with regard to the demo content that you just shared, somebody posted, we receive other customer email, not orders, into our general email box. Would we need to manually forward each order email to Esker?
So there's two options, and it's quite common for customers to have a general orders or email box where they're receiving credit applications and quote requests and that kind of thing. So yes, you could either manually forward those emails that are coming in that have orders attached to Esker. We'll provide a general email address that you can then send those orders to. Or we also have something that we call the CIM or customer inquiry module that can actually help to auto filter those inbound emails and send orders into Esker and then reroute other requests to the people within the organization they need to go to.
Thank you, Geraldine, for posting that question. We love seeing audience engagement, and we don't mind anonymous questions, but come on out. We're about ready to get into TUG Connects 2021, and this is a place for everybody in that format when it's appropriate to jump on camera, get in, mix it up with a question. So please feel free to post away and add some more. We have another one here. We use another template-based solution currently. Is there a way to migrate over what we already have set up?
Yeah, so that's a great question. We've actually encountered this several times with many of our customers. So what we do during the QA process or the before the go live is we'll actually run those orders from those customers through the Esker system and train Esker on what those order templates look like, so that when you go live with the Esker system, you're kind of ready to hit the ground running, so to speak. That those will already be learned, and you don't have to worry about going through the typical learning process with Esker.
Great. Dave Lattery posted another question, and I promise everyone who is in our digital audience today, Dave is not being paid to participate. These are truly his own questions. So Dave asks, do you detect credit card numbers submitted by email and obfuscate? I hope I didn't pronounce that incorrectly. Obfuscate them?
We do not detect credit card numbers typically. No, it's not one of the fields that we typically capture.
And Dave, more to your point, I'm wondering for those that include credit card information. I know with regard to financial safety as well as GDPR compliance, we don't get any credit card information through TUG via email. We will make a phone call if we need to make something happen financially. So that's something you might want to just check out with regard to policy internally. I know it's convenient, but I don't know that email is a secure web portal, like going in and doing an online order at Amazon or something that's set up in the Amazon portal as e-commerce. That's just my
Yeah.
2 cents. Chris, do you have any additional comment on that with regard to credit card in terms of what your understanding is with regard to protocols?
Yeah, from a PCI compliance standpoint, we don't like to see the credit card actually on the order itself, typically. We do have another solution, an accounts receivable solution, where we can actually show invoices coming out of Infor in a web portal, and then customers can log in and pay by credit card in that portal, and they can also set it up to auto pay. Obviously, that's a different solution than what we're looking at today, and I can provide him more information on that if he wants. But
and is auto pay, just out of curiosity, and this is my
Mhm.
question, this isn't one that populated from the audience yet,
Mhm.
but if you've got auto pay, do you also have orders that you put into your system that are on auto ship based on what you have available?
That would be more of a functionality in the Infor system. Once the order gets entered into Infor, then if it's an auto ship order or something like that, that would actually be kicked off by the Infor ERP and how that's configured.
I'm always learning myself because I don't work in an Infor format, but I
Yep.
think as a consumer or somebody that's, initiating an order process. So
Yep.
thank you for letting me share that. Dave
Sure.
jumped in and he said, sometimes their customers don't realize this and send their credit card, and you will
Yeah.
look like a hero, Dave. Also, Chris, you can speak into this better than I, but he'll look like a hero if he says, you don't want to do that for your financial integrity
Yeah.
and safety. So,
Yeah.
good that you brought it up.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Good.
That's all that I've had populate right now.
Okay.
Chris, I'm going to see if anything else pops into the question and answer bubble or into chat. But in the
Okay.
meantime, are you done with your demo?
Nope. We're
Are
just
we
going to take a quick look at it, just a few sample orders, and then we can
okay?
open it back up to more questions later.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you. So again, I'm entered in as a CSR at this point. So what I'm going to want to do is, in a daily routine, is go in, click on this big number 20, and start validating orders. So when I click on 20, you can see here that I've got a list of orders. And again, I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see this. A list of the orders that I am responsible for validating. And you can see that using that capture technology, Esker already knows or can identify who the order is from. We already know what the PO date is, what the PO number is, and the total amount on most of these orders. There's a few we don't have it for the large part, we've actually captured that information. So we're going to look at one here from a company called Motorcycle Shop. Now, typically you don't keep coming back to the screen as a CSR. You would hit the start validating button and the JMart order would pop up, and then Lampin and Motorcycle Shop, and it just kind of keep walking through them without bouncing back to the screen. But since we're going to cherry pick a couple, we're going to keep coming back here. So again, going to open up Motorcycle Shop here real quick. And this is an order that Esker has not seen before. So it's a brand new order layout and format to Esker. And when I go in and log in here, you can see that Esker has used its capture technology to pull the customer information. And we've actually not only pulled the customer information off of the order, but we've also validated this against the data that we're pulling out of Infor. And that's why I can see the customer name as well as the customer number here, because that's actually coming from my Infor system. The street address here is not something I can change because that's also being pulled from the Infor system. So if I need to make a change here, I can click on these 3 ellipses here and actually browse out to the replicated data from Infor and choose the correct Motorcycle Shop if I would have put the wildcard in there. There it is, there's Motorcycle Shop. So that's how I would select or change the name of the customer in this particular case. The other thing we do is we collect all the shipping addresses that are that correspond to the customer. So in this particular case, we're seeing IDES here as being the ship to, and so Esker's automatically flagged this as a drop ship because I don't have IDES as a customer associated with Motorcycle Shop in my customer master table in the Infor system. If I uncheck this drop ship, you can see that it goes to Motorcycle Shop and I'm going to ship it to the company here. But in this case, I want this to go to IDES, so it is a drop ship, and that's how Esker captured that information. We've also captured the PO number, the PO date, the total amount, which actually spills onto the second page here. We've grabbed it from the subtotal here. And we've also scanned this order to see if there's any sort of reference to ASAP, next day air, et cetera, that would flag it as priority. We didn't see anything, so we've set this as standard. Now, going back to one of the questions, if for some reason there was a credit card number on here, I could actually use one of these highlighters up here and strike out that information and block it. It's not really true PCI compliance per se, but it would actually go into the archive with that number blocked out. So if somebody does open up this order in the archive, at least it wouldn't be able to visibly see that information. So in this particular case, what I'm seeing here on the Esker side is a big red box around the fact that I don't have any extracted material numbers, because in order to process this order, I need to have a line item. So what I need to do here is click on this box, show where the extracted material number is, which is this 1400-310, draw a box around it and click on it. And now Esker is bringing this information over. It's then looking into the material master from Infor, finding the matching ERP material number, and bringing over that as well as the description for that particular line item. Next thing I have to do is show where the quantity is and where the total is. So basically what I'm doing from a CSR standpoint is I'm telling Esker what a line item for this order looks like. And I'm done. I just have to do that first line. I hit this autocomplete button. And now Esker is going to scan the rest of the order to try to find lines that match that same structure, that have that same format and layout. On the back end of what's happening is Esker is starting to remember, oh, this is what a line item for motorcycle shop looks like. So the next time I get an order in from motorcycle shop, I shouldn't have to go through this exercise. But now you can see we pulled back 5 line items here, and those 5 line items are listed right down here at the bottom of the order here. Now it's impressive with 5 line items, but you can imagine what this would look like if it was 4, 5, 6 page order with hundreds of line items on it. It becomes even more impressive at that point, or more powerful at that point. The other thing that Esker is doing is it's taking the totals here and computing them, adding them all up to make sure that the computed total actually matches the total on the order itself. So we are doing some data checks on that side. So from this vantage point, this order is ready to go. The only thing I would have to do from a CSR standpoint then is hit the approve button, and this would go into the Infor system for loading. So I'm going to quit out of this one. Again, this is an order that was the first time seen by Esker, so I had to go through a little bit of an exercise. We're going to take a look at another one now from Jmart. This is one that Esker has seen before, but it encountered an issue. And that issue is when I went to pull this part number M12 or M-12, it did a lookup into the Infor system and didn't find a match. So what I want to do is show Esker what the customer's M-12 part number really is in the Infor system. So in this case, it actually happens to match. It actually happens to be M12 again. So if I type in M12, well, actually, I'll just do a browse out to the Infor system here. We'll do it here. There you go. I can just pick this line item, and now it brings forward the description and everything else. But on the back end, what Esker is doing now is it's actually creating a table that says when the customer orders this part number, I want it to automatically convert to this Infor part number, or this material number on our end. So if this actually happened to be like M12 or M-12A or something like that, because it was a color specification, et cetera, and it actually was supposed to be M-12 on our end, Esker starts to build that correlation. So the next time that a customer enters or sends over an order with that part number, we'll automatically do the conversion, and your CSR doesn't have to do the lookup into the ERP system to change it. So now that I've resolved that red box issue, the only other issue on this order is that it's giving me a warning here in a different color box. Instead of red, this one's orange. And it's just saying, hey, there's multiple locations or ship to addresses associated with Jmart. Just make sure that Esker's grabbed the right one. So again, I can just quickly look at this by clicking on that field, looking at the address that it's going to, saying, yep, 2205 Boston Road is the right one, select that. And now this order is ready to send into Infor. And then one final example we're going to look at here is for Computer 3000. So this is one that Esker has seen before. It's been processed a few times, 2, 3, 4 times on the Esker system. And if I do a quick scan here, Esker's grabbed everything correct. There's not a red box to be found or any sort of highlight or anything like that that would indicate that the information is incorrect. All the fields on the right-hand side here are kind of in this lightish greenish color. So Esker is confident that it's pulling the information 100% correct, including the total. So there's really nothing from a CSR standpoint that I need to do to this order before I send it into the Infor system. It's all correct. So I also have another option here that I could do, and that is set this order or this customer to automatic processing. So if I continue to see orders coming in from Computer 3000 that come in this manner where I'm not making any changes to it, I can click this little box, hit the approve button, and the next time an order from computer 3000 comes in and all this order is correct, it would just go directly into Infor, and the CSR wouldn't even have to do anything from an approval standpoint. And this is kind of the perfect world scenario, right? Orders come in, Esker, you might need to process it 2, 3, 4 times in the Esker system before it is able to pull all the information correctly. And then you get comfortable with the fact that Esker is able to do it. You can enable this automatic processing then for that particular customer. Now, if you do check this box and there is an issue with this order, obviously we're going to kick it back to the validation screen. We're not going to just send garbage into the ERP system, but assuming everything is pulled correctly, it would go directly into Infor. Now, one other thing I do want to point out here is we do have the ability to launch a message from the Esker system. So if there is an issue with the order and I want to send a message to the customer, I can launch an interface here that'll bring up an email window where I can type in the customer's email address and a message that I want to send to them. And I can attach a file, I can attach a copy of this order or some other supporting documentation, etc. The reason you may want to do it from here rather than a standard email client is that Escrow will then track that back and forth with the customer. So the corresponding messages that your CSR has back and forth with that customer about their order will actually be saved with their order in the Esker archive. So if there's any other questions about the order or there's any disputes about it, you'll have record of exactly what was said or what was mentioned between you and the customer. So, but aside from this one's ready to go, and I could hit the approve button and off to Infor it would go. So that's pretty much it from the demo side of things. I know we've kind of sped through that a little bit fast. Typically those demos last a little bit longer, but I just want to give you kind of a high level overview of kind of how Esker would process orders, what the learning technology is able to do and how it would work, and kind of what the day-to-day experience would be on the CSR side of things. So 2 seconds here. Sorry, I blipped off my other screen. Oops. Gloria, do we have any other questions?
We sure do.
Oh boy. Oh,
everybody, we are so excited that y'all are participating. I can't tell you because I know for years we literally had a talking head that was not visible to our audience and everybody was passive and had to wait until the very last moment. We've learned so much now about how important it is to really touch base with all of you and make sure that we answer your questions. And Chris is doing a great job. So props to you too, Chris. Dave has 2 questions. I'm going to take them in the order that they were presented. Okay. First, Dave says, how are you integrating with SX.e? Are you on Infor OS /ON, and are you integrating with an API or a /BOD?
So for SX.e, if it's on-prem, we can usually do just a CSV file transfer via secure FTP. So we'll do an export from SX.e in a CSV file format, and then that gets transferred via secure FTP to the Esker system. And that's a scheduled process. It's not something you have to manually do. We work with it, so it's a scheduled task and automatically replicates. For customers that are going to CSD or in a hosted environment, we would use an API to make the calls into Infor to pull the information necessary. So we have a couple different options.
And that I trust then talks about the support. Dave also asked, do you support on-prem installations? So I would assume that answer is yes.
We support the ERP being on-prem. Esker does not have an on-prem solution.
Okay. Okay, great.
So I just want to make that distinction. I'm not sure what he was, which he was asking about. So I just want to make the distinction there.
Yeah, his question was, do you support on-prem installation? So Dave, I'm going to mark this as answered live. If you want to clarify that any further and need to take a deeper dive, just bounce back into that Q&A bubble and we will circle back to it. He said, SX on-prem, thanks.
Yep.
So wonderful. Mike DePascal, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. He asks, does it manage how the customer wants to be invoiced?
This solution, no. That would be more of our cash cash collections or AR solution that would manage that. So, so we have a product called TermSync that could receive the invoices from Infor, and then we can distribute those to your customers in a way that they want to be invoiced and allow the online payment and that kind of thing. So.
Online payment is the best.
Right.
I say that as a consumer and as someone who has to work through business applications as well.
Right.
Timothy O'Rourke Boy, we're just past St. Patty's Day, Timothy. Sorry that we couldn't celebrate St. Patty's Day with you last week. But he says, can the CSR be notified via email that orders are on the Esker portal, or does the CSR have to constantly check for orders to approve?
We don't typically set it up so the CSR receives an email. We can, but we generally assume that the CSR is going to be in the Escrow portal at least once or twice a day, checking for orders as part of their normal everyday role. So rather than bombarding them with 20 to 50 emails a day, letting them know that they have orders, that we just recommend that they check the portal periodically. But if they want to receive orders or emails from us, that we certainly could set it up that way.
I have one question. I literally saw a little bit of your demo, and I don't know if you responded to this or not, but one of the things that crossed my mind is you're drawing a box around those items and then dropping them in to where the Esker content is. What happens if you have an extended price or a unit price that is different? Because right now I saw a post, for example, today on the brand new member forum portal. If you haven't been there yet, go, go, go. It's fabulous. But I saw someone that posted, I think it was Jamie Hutsample, said, in light of what we're going through with COVID, now is a perfect time to be changing your pricing strategies. So many people might not have updated pricing in terms of what's going on in their consumer side versus what they're sending to you to fulfill an order. So how does that work when you have a price discrepancy in either unit or individual cost total?
Yeah, so for the large portion of the Infor customers we deal with, we do not set up any sort of price checks in the Esker side. We just simply capture the pricing that's associated or that's on the order for each of the line items and pass it into the Infor system for it to do the pricing check. We do have some that are using the API where we actually do a call out to check the pricing for that line item. So we can do it one of two ways, but for the most of our wholesale distribution companies, because of the pricing tables and the complexity of them and stuff like that in their ERP system, elect to have their ERP kind of be king of pricing and flag the errors that way once the order's in.
That's great to know. Richard Vos also asked another question, and I hope I don't hammer the pronunciation of this because you all talk in an entirely different language than this event planner producer. With API integration, is order management asynchronous or does it remain in batch mode?
It would actually make calls periodic or for each order that's received. So it wouldn't be a batch API call. It would be an individual API call for each order, for each item that we're having to validate.
And Richard, you're welcome. He says, perfect. So that's what I have so far. I'm going to see if anything else populates, but I think you've done such a great job in covering your content. You want to let us know if somebody is online and they want to reach out to you for more information about Esker and your product. What's the best way to reach you and get in touch with you?
That's a great question. And it's right here. You can just email me or you can call me direct. So my direct phone number is 608-828-6109. That comes directly to me. It does not go through a receptionist or anybody else. So feel free to call that. Otherwise, you can email me at Chris, CHRIS.Graves, GRAVES @Esker.com.
Well, that's wonderful. I don't see anything that's populated yet. So on that note, I am going to, first of all, say a big, huge thank you to you, Chris. This has been a really great program today, and it's been wonderful to work with you and get to know you. And also, we want to thank everyone who joined us online today. We had 28 people that joined us out of those, so that's better than the percentage we normally see that jump on and log in. Also, just a quick reminder, if you want to continue this conversation, please go to the member forums and go into the portal where you can continue this conversation, share best practices. Chris monitors those boards. So wherever you do that, he'll find you. And then also wanted to remind you to mark your calendars and watch your inbox along the invitations that are coming, as well as the community boards for this Friday's cybersecurity panel discussion at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Della Kofelt, board member and VP of Distributors Corp of America, is going to be your moderator and has great resources there with building your cybersecurity platform. And don't forget, TUG Connects 2021 registration is live and open. So go and register today. And also for those of you who are not yet TUG members, we ask why. So please go to www.theusergroup.org and join today and enjoy all of the member benefits that we've been talking about here that are exclusive and behind our membership wall. And aside from that, as they say in Hollywood, folks, that's a wrap.